view, and by your view I mean Lance's view of the Arrow is changing and that his position may be changing upcoming. Can you forecast any change in his current status?
I think you just summed it all up. There we go. Just everything you just said, that's what I said too. Yes, the next episode, when obviously Lance isn't too happy about everything that occurred with Sarah's death and that not being disclosed to him. He had a few words with Laurel about that, and I think next up he wants to have a word with the Arrow fellow, because he didn't exactly tell him too much about it either, did he? So yeah, I think the Arrow's feeling it from all quarters, and he's certainly feeling it from Lance too. So
how ridiculous is it that your character recognized Arsenal as Roy in 5 seconds, yet he's been meeting with the Arrow for a couple of years and he didn't recognize him at all?
Well, I'll tell you the reason for that. And I always think this was rather apparent from The Man Under the Hood, the episode towards the end of season 2, where Laurel said, I know who the Arrow is, and Lance said, don't tell me who the Arrow is, because I don't care who the Arrow is, I don't want to know who the Arrow is, because I don't want to emotionally attach myself to the idea of who he is, because at the moment, what he does is great for this city, and that's more important than my relationship with him and knowing who he is. So Lance doesn't care who the Arrow is, and of course he has a pretty damn good idea who he is. All roads lead to Rome, right? But he doesn't care, because up until this point he was considering the Arrow to be a great virtue for the city, which may be shifting slightly soon, but he didn't care who he was, because he was doing good by Starling City. And once he reconciled that in his mind at the end of season, which season I forget, was at the end of season 1. That's a nice position to be in, isn't it, when you can't remember the seasons? Wow, we're on a hit show here, this is fantastic. Season 17, I think it was. Yeah, season 2, the end of season 2. So, yeah, his whole attitude towards that shifted. So that is a long, rambling answer to your question.
What are the chances we're going to see Lance visit Central City?
Very high.
How
Listen, Lance hasn't got any friends left in Starling City, and so you know, I think Detective West is like, oh my God, this guy's a contemporary. He's my age. He's a father. I need someone to talk to. So actually, I crossed over to the Flash recently, and we had some nice little scenes together. So that's his new buddy, you know. He's got no one else to have a cup of tea with.
I guess she actually asked the money question.
Well, then I'll ask a real quick question, then, which is, how long is the road going to be for reconciliation with Laurel?
I don't know, because we're not at that. We're not at that. That road is still continuing.
How long do you think, as the actor, how long do you think?
Well, I'm not. I used to ask the writer and the producer that, because I'm not writing this stuff. But in terms of what I do know, certainly this season, there's no sweet little end to it, as far as I know, this season. So it's going to be, it's a pretty tough thing that she did. And there's one little thing. I'm not really giving anything away. I think it's in the next episode. He just says, "Look, I love you, but I can't forgive you." How are you, sir? Can I just tell you, this man gave me my first job in 2002. I like him a lot.
All right, just one more question. It is Pi Day. What is your favorite type of pie?
Pi Day? Who made up Pi Day?
3.14.
As in the actual number of pi.
We're at 314. So what was the question?
What's your favorite type of pie? Kind of pie. Flavor. Do you like pie? Pie. You know, no, pies don't really jump to mind. Yeah, apple pie and ice cream, but I prefer crumbles myself. But, you know, that's what we call them in England anyway. Thank you so much.
Crisps, I think they call them.